Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the George.Daniel podcast. I am your host, George.Daniel. And before we start, I do want to give a shout out to Liquid Death. You guys can get that at www.liquiddeath.com, or you guys can go to your local convenience store and cop a pack. But Matt, how we doing?
Chilling, dude.
Yeah.
Just got off work.
Yeah, it's a late one-ish kind of today.
Yeah.
But we got the boys. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Joe.
I'm Toby.
I'm Abe.
And we are members of the Yugi-Oh channel on YouTube named YugiBOOM.
Dude, and also Joe, I met you because of Christian, right?
Yes.
He's your cousin, and Christian, you know, everyone knows Jelly. But yeah, he introduced me to you, and honestly, it's been one of the better things that he's brought in my life. You know?
Yeah.
Like that relationship and like having like almost like cousins, you know? But with that, like even going into your house, like you have that at all times, you know?
Yeah.
You are that person. So how did the group kind of form?
I mean, it all started pretty much grade school. We're part of a group of friends who are really lucky in the sense where most of our circle has been cut tight over the years. Like the bad apples have been ridden of. Most of us have known each other fucking kindergarten or middle school, like
because you guys grew up in the East Bay, right?
Yeah. So we all grew up in different parts of the East and the North Bay. So in our friend group, it's a bunch of like Peninsula kids, like either from the city or kids from Vallejo, and then all East Bay. So like Hayward, Union City, Oakland, San Leandro, like all that stuff.
Right.
And yeah, we just all knew each other through school, similar interests, just a bunch of random ass kids who all liked the same shit, watched the same shows, listened to the same music, had similar interests, and then became adults with jobs and used our money to pay rent and buy stupid shit,
Yeah.
So like
no, but honestly, I mean, like going to your house, there's just like so many like it's like a guy's like it's like a bachelor pad, like
but it's clean.
No, it's clean. Yeah. But like it's just like like every time I go there, it's like someone's playing cards, someone's playing this, someone like we're watching like Boondocks or something, it's just something so like or Robot Chicken or whatever.
Yep.
It's just something always so random. And yeah, it's just like so much fun going over there because I learned so much about like just like everything really like that like pop culture wise that I'm not hip to, if that makes sense.
Well, we're in the encyclopedia of bullshit for sure. Like,
But honestly, like those are like fun facts that I just regurgitate to other people. Like, dude, like it's hilarious. Like I don't watch anime, I don't watch anything else. But like it's not for there's 1,000 episodes on one anime, like how am I gonna carve out the time.
If I've done it in a year, you can too.
It's
yeah,
your commitment issue.
it's a commitment issue. So sorry, all my exes. Yeah, no, like it is. It's very daunting. It's such a huge, and it's also like it's not even just like the cultural aspect here in America, but it's like a worldly thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like once like people who get into like K-pop or something like that, it's just like it's like a different thing, or like white kids who listen to reggaeton. It's just like like you don't really get it, but you want to get it, right?
Exactly.
And like
That's me right there with the K-pop.
yeah, dude, like and you guys are cultured.
Yeah.
So do you guys like when you guys watch anime, are you guys watching it like dubbed, or are you guys watching it
Usually always
with subtitles?
Subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Depends.
Bit of a savant.
Yeah.
A
A purist.
original source material.
So watching it for so long, right? Do you guys kind of like pick up on things and like kind of like
well, he studied it in school, and we have plenty of Japanese friends
Yeah.
who fluently understand it. But
Right.
me, I'm just Mexican like you and look white. Just
Right.
like we just speak Spanish, so we just watch it in Japanese. We know like this typical weeb shit, like dumb shit you say, lines from anime,
Right.
stupid shit from the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh, like shit like that. But no, I don't speak Japanese at all.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've had the most I've had was like education from college and stuff like that, and all my years like just from youth watching anime, like, you know, subbed and stuff, especially, you know, from my cousin who was older than me. That's how I had access to a lot of anime, was like my older cousin. And on top of that, growing up with the internet, like around, say, like the late teens, you know, it kind of just started to stack up into this encyclopedic knowledge, you know, to where you kind of started to wanted to share it with people, and you started to pick up on things to where you started learning little nuances in a language, and, you know, having studied a language beforehand might have kind of gave me an edge, but it was just like all of it started making sense, like started building up together.
Well, I mean, like any language, right? Like,
yeah.
You're just given words, but you get to decide how you use them, if that makes sense. Right? So you get to kind of develop a personality once you learn something new.
I think it's sort of
You
like
know?
context too. Like
Right,
when you
right,
start
right.
getting context in, like, you know, by scenes,
Right.
and then you start associating words with context. So I guess that's kind of what I personally picked up from like watching anime all these years, to kind of put it in a sort of educated standpoint. you
Right.
know?
And then, every time I come over and you're there, like, literally, you have Magic cards, you have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you have, like, you know, so, like, as a collector, right? When did that all start for you? Like, did you start?
Me?
Did you start, like, picking up
When I was
cards,
a
like,
kid.
8? Or, like, you know, like,
When the cards first came out.
right.
Whenever my mom went.
When was that? Like,
Around
2001?
2001.
2. Something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
I forget,
Hell yeah.
2003.
Good
No, it
guess.
might be 2003.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, when I was a kid, when the first Star decks came out, the Yugi Kaiba ones.
Right,
like,
right.
You could find that shit in anywhere. Like,
Fucking Walgreens.
I remember
Yeah,
there was
drugstores had
this
them and
Yeah.
stuff.
clothing store my aunt used to work in. They used to sell that shit,
Damn.
and I'd be like, "Mom, can you buy that for me?" You know. And then watching the anime at on Saturday mornings
Right.
on WB.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how
yeah.
I got into
Hell
it.
yeah.
Real.
Public
I mean,
access.
Hell yeah, dude.
My older cousin and WB is like how I first started even watching anime. Like I was a little boy, I used to just be hella hyper, running around, and then one day I ran past the screen while Sailor Moon was playing, and I was just like interested.
Captivated.
Yeah.
You know? And then
Yeah.
that was like the first anime I like watched hella tough as a kid, and then Pokemon and Beast Wars and shit would all come on afterwards, and like Yu-Gi-Oh started coming out shortly after that, and from there it was like over. And then once I was like older and started to read and just want to learn about anything I possibly could, I started to learn that anime could actually be good, like not just action, like have fucking stories that are like better than most shitty movies that come out nowadays and things like that. And I mean, yeah, it just is a wormhole from there. Like we all started hella young. Just
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays you even get anime that just like tugs at your soul a little bit too, like even questions your own humanity sometimes.
hella depressed.
Like
Yeah.
there's this
Yeah.
Anime called Serial Experiments Lane, in which they're actually celebrating, I think I want to say 20th anniversary since their first release. And it's this phenomenon of like an anime. I don't want to give away too much, but like it's really one of those like things that kind of predicted like AI and sort of like people's place in the world and shit like that, and just a whole bunch of stuff, and it kind of makes you think. So I mean,
Right.
I don't know if I got that right, but I'm pretty sure there's some guys who will correct me. Oh, I've seen the anime, you don't know shit. But you know,
The purists.
but yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a wide range of shit nowadays to where there's just about anything for anyone.
Yeah,
Okay, this is like a dumb question I just thought, but
There
like,
are no
what,
dumb questions.
What, like, what do you think was dude? There's a fucking party happening.
Fucking
but
we should be over there.
yeah. Fucking what? Like, what do you think? Kind of gave the Japanese like this weird, like, eclectic, like, embrace for this type of art, you know? Because it like mainly it's Japanese for the most part, right? I mean, anime, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's where. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what do you like? Like, I'm trying to like put myself in their shoes because it probably started in like this 60s ish, maybe like comics and
from
manga.
from what I think it has a lot to do with the fact that like even Japan, if you kind of think about it, and in its own is kind of like a giant melting pot of cultures. So kind of similar to America, but they've kind of had a lot of inspirations from like, you know, say like, you know, Europe and a lot of surrounding countries in Asia and stuff like that. So,
Right.
like just
Because like
kinda
I mean like Mexicans don't I wouldn't imagine our like animated stuff be the same way, or like our stories are more like mythological almost.
I mean, y'all still
Yeah,
get
kinda
inspiration from a lot of stuff and influences from a lot of things too. So,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I guess with Japan, they just kind
Because
of
they like mastered that, you know.
and on top
And on like story, what I mean is like character development, story, like
I think
just baseline.
I can't speak factually. Sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I can't speak factually. But if you think about just the little bit I do know, like Japan's always been about storytelling, like the plays back in even feudal Japan and things
Right.
like that. I think it's just always been in their culture to just write captivating stories based on like human condition.
hell, they even tie
everything and-
mysticism to their history too.
Right,
you
right, right.
know, in their
I mean,
giant
I can
history.
get back
just,
to
like,
you
such
on
a
that question
dope,
from
like,
people who
culture,
are far more
you know?
educated on the subject, but I doubt anybody in your audience wants to hear a white-looking Mexican dude.
Oh,
speak
dude,
on-
we need to bring that one chick
Oh
back.
yeah, we're not brown enough.
Yeah, we need to bring that one bitch on.
dude,
Yeah.
Shout out
dude,
that one bitch who flipped out on us at a party.
Dude,
Yeah,
that shit
bitch.
was crazy. She
For
was
no
talking,
reason?
Yeah, she was talking crazy to Joe at his house. And
It's
we
okay.
were like, lady, call your Uber, please.
Yeah,
Like,
I was-
Yeah, she was trying to validate like our ethnicity to the point to where Danny over here had to pull out his green card. Like,
like,
really?
Yeah, good times. Good times.
shout out that lady.
Let's
Yeah.
not give her too much of the limelight.
But like no, okay. Well, with that situation said, right?
Yeah.
Like I love the fact that you guys are a group. You guys are a band of brothers, like for real. And like that's like honestly like super like inspiring and also like super dope to see that it is a melting pot, you know,
Yeah.
of people and of like personalities and everything. And like it's cool to see like everything mesh, you know. And like the over-encompassing thing is usually like either music, anime, or like the fact that like homies, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Hell, even sports sometimes. Too.
Right,
Like,
right. Yeah, you guys are huge
lot of
sports fans and
gatherings.
everything.
I mean, I think that's the best thing about our friend group, to be honest, is just kind of going back to how you even opened up our episode with like that. You said it was a great meet. Like we are now friends. Like you're not just my cousin's friend anymore. Like
Right.
over the years, I can gladly say that you're my friend because I fucking love this guy. Danny's. We talk a lot of shit to each other, but it's nice to know when my cousin's out there in sometimes environments, you know, where people are doing crazy shit, you know, because his friend is my little cousin always first, you know? So, like, when I started to meet his friends, it was always comforting to me that I knew he had level-headed kids, you know, because, like, not to be fucked up and to prejudge and presume, but, like, us being more East Bay kids who went to, like, shitty high schools and stuff, I was always worried that my cousin Christian growing up in, like, Sunnyvale was going to be just, like, you know, partying with a bunch of dumbass white boys who would get him into some stupid shit and stuff, you know, when he was like DJing at like 3 a.m. and doing shit. But
Or
then
just general
when I started to
snobby
meet
people.
his friends, I was like, all right, I feel more comfortable. And that wasn't to, you know, presume anything about the lifestyle or anything, but it was comforting. And then with that, our friend group, the reason everybody is so different is because at the end of the day, all of us lived lives or had things that shaped us negatively or positively. And we learned, as corny as it sounds, is that real recognized real doesn't even have to just be in tough guy shit. It really means that if I will treat you like you're my family the first day I meet you, as long as I realize after meeting you, no matter who you're in front of, I'm gonna get the same product.
Right.
If you're just your authentic self, we absorb you like a fucking like fungus, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But in a
yeah.
good way. Like
Yeah.
we treat everybody like family, and we've built a really great group of talented friends throughout the years, people who are into everything, people who are in bands, people who are comedians, people who are artists, people who make music just for fun, people who are successful in music, people who are successful in business, like, and it's all just we're all just nerds at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
all have our day jobs and pay our bills and do what we got to do, have families we take care of, whatever the case may be. So when we meet new people, or like anybody comes into our, like when you guys started coming around my house and shit,
Right.
like it was always, hey, you need something to drink, you want a beer. It was never like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, huffing your chest out at my age is just sad, you know what I mean? I mean, I just turned 30, I'm still young, but
Yeah.
like, it's just, I'm at that point in my life where like, just don't be a hater, put your homies on, want to see people win. You will be so fucking surprised how less exhausted you are when you're not a little bitch. Like
Yeah.
when you just stop being a fucking little bitch. Like,
Dude, no, I feel that. I feel that. And like honestly, like because I am typically the youngest person in the room. Typically, I'm starting now to be on the other side of the coin, which is sad. You know, like it's a you know, it's one of those things where you have to like kind of like just eat, you know, eventually. But like
sobering
I
thing.
like genuinely like I'm just a grown ass kid. Like that's literally all it is like I pay rent, sure, you know, and I pay my bills and all this stuff, but like I just still just want to play, you know, at the end of the day.
And I think that's kind of what keeps us separated from, like, say, our parents or, say, the previous generation, is that we kind of kept grounded to the things that we like. I don't know if it was, like, say, you know, a defense mechanism to, like, the shit that's been happening recently. But, like, it's just been kind of ingrained into, like, say, pop culture even, you know. A lot of people are starting to embrace their, like, you know, say their guilty pleasures and shit like that, and
Right.
putting them out in public.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, okay, so with you guys, like walk me through like the first thing you guys posted on YouTube. And like what like did you guys like
Oh, man.
Was it like
profile?
Yeah, it was me, and it was when we filmed in a fucking closet.
nice.
Yeah.
Brent's house.
Yeah.
Brent was the original.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Brent.
Shout out to Brent, our OG. He started us all up. He had all the tech before we could afford to buy our own shit.
Yeah, he was our
You know?
head producer.
That's
he
Matt.
like-
He's my Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Shout
gave
out
us-
Matt.
Yeah.
Shout out Matt.
But hey, crack me another brewski, baby.
But yeah,
But,
he kind of provided us all the equipment, kind of gave us like the stepping ground, you know, for like
Yeah.
our production and stuff.
So our very first video was something
Well,
you
challenge
call
deck profile.
a deck profile. So for those of you who don't know in the audience,
Yeah, okay, walk me through the world,
editor,
right?
put a nerd warning up right now. Yeah, you will not get hard during this speech.
Yeah.
But
all
so pretty much, if you play card games, right, you build a deck, and sometimes people like to see you build decks, like, and show how to play a deck and what cards you should play in it. 'Cause
Right.
there's card limits and things like that, and our niche has always been in YouTube, even though we're still trying to grow and get bigger. Like, we cater to the casual and like players, you know, like people who aren't like sweat lords, as we call them. And that was the first type of video we did. I put up a video on some shitty random old ass deck, outdated ass shit that I
Yeah.
still played, and a couple people liked it. And so I was like, okay, you know, of course you always get that one asshole early on who's just like, you fucking suck, you know, and you're just like, you fucking suck.
Dude.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've gotten
it
some comments like
and it
that
was in
already.
a closet. Like, we legit would drive to.
That's hella skinny.
We would drive up all the way up D Street in Hayward, like into the hills where like deer are and stuff, to our homie's like town home. Go downstairs to his little like Dobby fucking Harry Potter closet, like, and we would set up this little shitty like table board he had.
With the lights.
With the lights, like a big ass like studio light, like one that you know you'd use.
Sweating
for, like,
as I am
fourth-
right now.
One,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
one you
screen.
use for like a fourth grade photo, you know, just a big
Yeah.
ass square one, and yeah, it was just black screen, I think, in the back, and no audio,
Those white- those are
no
white.
external audio at first, just like a Sony camera that we were using, and yeah, it was hella funny. Like, we just decided to do it, and then after a while we were like, fuck, man, this is actually kind of fun, and we found a way to circulate like videos and start to try different things and make stupid videos about dumb shit. And then over time we would just collaborate with random friends who do anything, because like, even if it's not about Yu-Gi-Oh, we'll always do podcasts with anybody who wants to shoot the shit. We'll do even if people play Pokemon or Magic or fucking video games, whatever it may be, we promote everybody's channel that we know has a channel, and we just enjoy watching people be passionate about shit they fuck with. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
And during the time when, you know, when people kind of wanted to hop on the train and help us out, like, you know, we kind of had this well-oiled machine going for a bit where we kind of separated roles and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of truth be told, me personally, I actually came in a little bit late. Like, you guys started like 2017, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like I came in like around 2018. Like, I got reintroduced to you guys again after like going to college and stuff like that. And, you know, I wanted to edit after coming from school and graduating and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, because Brent was editing our videos before.
and
Yeah.
so we kind of added like a little bit more of like a sort of control to like our quality control to like our videos, and as well as like, you know, giving each other roles, like,
Checks
you know,
and
who would-
balances.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
who would produce, who would be in studio, who would edit, that kind of stuff,
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it was fun. It was genuinely, it wasn't something like a high grade studio production or anything like that. Granted, we would buy like lights from Amazon, you know, that came from like our budget or sometimes just from our own wallets.
Yeah.
But like, you know, otherwise, like it was something that we genuinely had a passion for and had fun with. You
Right.
know? And it's something that, you know, gave us something to look forward to at the end of the week. It's like, yeah, let's go film, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just.
And we just get stoned.
Hell yeah.
In the beginning, it was like super unorganized. Like, even though we had like multiple people with like film degrees like working with us, like we would not take the set serious. We would fuck around. We would forget to slate and do hella shit. And we would like, even during skits where you should be more serious and have a shot list, I'd print out the shot list. And by the end of it, someone just drew a dick on it or something, and we never even
Yeah.
used it and freestyled everything. But over time, we've gotten hell of. I would never call us professional, but you know what I mean. We've
gotten better.
more serious,
We're-
Yeah,
more.
yeah. It's more
Professional
tuned.
consumer
Yeah,
level.
because we're still
Yeah.
hella small, you know. Like
Yeah.
we're still like we're like just over 2K subs, you know, like
2,300.
2,300, you know. close
Who's
to
counting though,
24.
right?
Yeah, and
I mean,
counting.
I'm always looking at it every day. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of that stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah. Fucking like, comment, subscribe, everyone, please.
Hey, I like, comment, and subscribe, and I comment some weird shit. So
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Just go, comb through the comments and you'll see him.
algorithm, man.
yeah.
You know? Get 'em out there.
But okay, so you guys started 2017, right?
Yeah.
From what I hear, and then like, what was like the first video that like really like took off, where you guys were like, oh shit, like what just happened?
Man,
What
so
was your Jinzo deck profile?
Yeah, I did a deck profile that was finally like creative and something people actually kind of were interested in.
Right.
Like it just happened to be like my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster at a time where you could play the deck pretty well. And I took in like little tidbits that I learned about the deck from other people's profiles over the years, and like also actually played it at locals and tried it like against friends who were really good. Like I've never been someone who can, but I have friends who've topped tournament events and things like that, like or topped locals, you know, plenty
Yeah,
of
yeah.
times won, you know, and so I'd play against them. And I did a deck profile one time, and I think it was our first video to get like 10K views.
Well, like
Over
a few
time.
years ago,
Yeah.
over time. But
Yeah.
it was the first one that popped up for us. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we would see like the views just like skyrocket.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it was the first one where it got hella views over time, and initially it hit like hundreds the first day, and we never had that happen. And by like a couple months, it was already close to 1,000.
Yeah.
And to us,
And,
that was a lot.
And to
Yeah.
us,
Right.
that was hella, especially when we just first had gotten monetized, and we were like, okay, like, damn, this is cool.
And
You
then
know,
Yeah.
like,
And then how long did it take for you guys to get monetized, right? Because it would, I mean, you
it
have
takes
to.
a while.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, you need
especially
like
when you're
1,000
not-
subs,
because,
right?
Because we
Yeah,
had
it starts with 1,000 subs.
We had,
Yeah.
I mean, not to
And then 4,000 minutes for
4,000
like
Yeah.
hours.
So, yeah.
4,000.
Hours. Yeah.
yeah,
hours.
and then we all obviously got in the game late, right? So we had backs against the wall. We had to find our niche, and even then, even though we're not that big, like we're at a point now where we're happy because we have a slow growth. We actually are recognized by a lot of people in the community who do matter, like in the terms of following back. They retweet us sometimes. They like our shit, things like that. It's like we're making
Lately, it's been dry though.
lately. Yeah, well, it's also been hella drama in the whole
Yeah.
gaming, like.
And we
That's
just try to
a-
avoid
that's
that.
so-
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's so fucking like I mean, outside of like crew beefs, right?
Yeah.
Like on personal level, I can't imagine there being like a real beef.
Believe it or not, a lot of it has to do with like, say, like along the terms of embezzlement.
No, dude, it's also nerd shit. Let's
That-
be real.
that too,
All
that
of the
too.
drama in what we do is
Yeah.
fucking people whose parents didn't spank them. That's
Right.
the best way I can put
That
it.
too,
Because
yeah.
the unfortunate aspect we deal with what we do is we deal with some fucking weird motherfuckers. Like when you do anything, whether you're in comics or whatever, anything that's considered nerdy or whatever, you're gonna deal with some fucking socially awkward, ill-mannered fucking pieces of shit. Like all the beef and drama that ever happens in like the Yu-Gi-Oh community, because there are Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers who have million subscribers, hundreds of thousands. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always like some new age shit, like getting canceled for some out of pocket shit or being a fucking pervert trying to talk to some underage. It's just like, think of like a recluse nerd who just doesn't know how to act.
Right.
That's the drama we deal with, because not everybody's like us. There are plenty of people who play Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering
Right.
or you know Pokemon who are like us, who are just urban dudes who happen to like the shit, but we're also I don't want to say normal because that's a fucked up way to put it, but you know what I mean? We're not
No,
like...
because you guys are like, I mean, not for nothing. Like, you guys are like kind of ghetto. You know, but like fun, like, you know what I mean, but like not like
ghetto.
street. No, but you know, not like in the
Street smart,
like
street
street
smart.
smart. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like it's like that East Bay type mentality. You
Yeah,
know,
my
where it's just
brothers
like you don't
think
take
that. They're
like
from
like you guys don't take shit, but also like you guys are like the nice ones, right? Like you know,
Joe's the loud spoken one. I'm the calm one. Toby's the cute one.
hey, everyone has a role, right?
Toby's that-
It could be worse. It could be worse. You know.
I'm still getting over the fact that Danny just called us ghetto. Is it because every time you come over, I'm in chanclas and a
Hey,
white
that's some
beater,
street
and I'm
cred,
offering
man.
you
Dude, no,
cereal?
it's not even like it's just like
I'll take it.
like somewhat like yeah, street smart, like kind of like, you know, like hood tested, if that makes sense, you know, like you know, like it's just like you know, like you like, I don't know, that's just the way, like I every time I go over there, like when you guys have like the whole gang over there, like everyone's personalities are a little bit different, but everyone's battle tested, you know. And like that's what I've noticed, you know, regardless
I
of
feel that's a part of like the type of people we naturally gravitate to. You got to be a little bit tossed around
yeah.
to fit in with us,
Yeah.
whatever way that may be. You know, like not saying we can't get along with someone who's just always been rainbows and sunshine, but
Yeah.
we just tend to gravitate more towards that aching soul.
Well, just like in general,
But in
like,
a warlock sense, like we're
it
trying
just
to
in
take-
general, we even just kind of like bust balls you know, like if you can't bust balls, you know, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
take it or deal with it, you know, it's just kind of weird.
Whoa.
Pause.
Actually, fast forward.
But yeah, like I don't know. That's why like I don't like. I probably wouldn't ask my like coworkers who are also into anime like all these like random questions.
No, yeah.
You know, but like I know like you guys will give me the answer that I need. You
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, because you're a fucking idiot. Yeah.
I mean that's fair. That's fair.
Nah.
But like literally, like I was just like it's not like a.
I love you. That was
Dude.
aggressive.
No, see, but like that's what I mean. Like we're like homies. We bust balls. That's how we do it. You know, and like yeah,
but no, like I guess not to do that typical cliche interview thing that can I answer your question with another question, but like what we were talking about off camera previously, like for your guys' music and stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously, to break it in something as everybody in this room could probably relate to, right? I'm a Mexican dude who's into anime.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Mexican dude who's into electronic music, right? To a closed-minded individual, that might seem weird, both
Yeah.
of those things, right? So I ask you the same question, like, what got you so into what you do? Because I don't think I've ever really asked you that question, honestly.
honestly, I just like music. You know,
I know you're like,
And,
we
like,
can play anything around
yeah.
you and you don't care.
like I just like music, and what I'm really into is you guys are really into playing and sharing knowledge, right?
Yeah.
You guys are the DJs, artists. I want to be the guy who's holding tournaments, who's maybe creating a channel where they have funnel like 5 different crews and have like, you know, do it that way.
Yeah.
I'm more of the production side. That's like what I really enjoy on the music aspect. It's the
So
putting
you get a
people on.
creative outlet. I guess a better way for me to phrase my question would, what does it make you, what does it fulfill and make you feel that makes what you're into provocative? Like
Like with
like
on
even
two fronts, right? On
Even
two
this,
fronts, right?
right?
On
Like,
the
yeah.
music aspect, I really like building. I really like to, honestly, like, it was kind of like just a dick swing competition, right?
Yeah.
Like, I really like to be like, dude, I'm that dude. I really can spin, you know? And like all this stuff. And like, but on this one, I really like having conversations with people and building that community, you know? It's just like, yeah, it's like, I bust balls with every guest, you know? But that's only to see their, like, see how friendly we can really be, you know, like how
Yeah.
much of my true self can I be?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's what this is. This is the community
Yeah.
aspect. This is kind of the silly goose shit. But like when you guys play in tournaments, you guys want to build the best decks, and which is a question that I want to ask is just like, what the fuck is, like, I get it. There's decks and you build it, right? But like you named like 3 different decks, and I'm just like, there's
there's thousands, bro.
Oh,
right, but
right.
like is there like is it like in skateboarding, right? Like, is there someone who created that deck, you know? And or like
This is me reaching for this analogy.
no,
This metaphor.
but like, is it like skateboarding where like someone like does a trick first, right, and then names it and then like shares it with everyone and everyone can use it, or is it like are there signature decks that certain people, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in some sort of way, yes and no, because there are decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like in the entire 80,000 plus encyclopedia of cards within the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Library.
100,000 plus.
100,000, there you go, even more.
Yeah.
And then like amongst those, I think
Actually,
is
10,000,
like,
my bad.
I think 3,000 themed decks.
Mm-hmm.
So like in between those, I guess people would try to find like variants, certain combos that work, maybe even cards that aren't within like the themes. Like
Right.
some that kind of were released like maybe back in the day.
To me, like decks seem like genres in music, if that makes sense. You know, like you can like there could be like
no, that's a good way to put it. There's
Right.
different play styles that are completely different, but same. You know,
right.
same.
Like
but
it
different.
could be like I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like the Yu-Gi-Oh shit, and I'm like striking right now.
Look at it like this. There's gonna be strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh that are really fast.
Right.
Like they just pop off. There's other ones that are gonna be like defensive, wait for your reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's like decks that are in between.
Because it's definitely strategy. And then do you
Complicated
guys go
rules, but just like any other game. There's like aggressive strategies, defensive strategies, and all types of in between.
So with you guys, like, in a sports analogy, I guess, like, do you guys play a different way depending on who you're playing against?
yeah, 100%.
A little bit.
100%.
And then when you guys are playing, do you guys tell each other what you guys are gonna kind of do?
In friendly matches, yeah, kind of.
But that's like practice shit, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're like, all
But
right,
at a
I'm gonna see if
tournament,
my
like
shit.
if I'm playing
Yeah.
some random and I'm actually trying to win product or something like that.
It's really
like,
psychology.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
When
it's
you're
like
playing against somebody
poker.
you don't know, yeah, poker.
It's like poker
You
kind
gotta
of.
sometimes like one of my friends, Rez, he was playing in a tournament and he had like a couple cards in his hand, and there's a card that lets you play it from hand that lets you stop something that your opponent's doing, right? So what he does, he's like, oh, I baited him out because his opponent did something, and then he started tapping like his card, right? And the guy thought he had something, so he did something completely different to try to go around it.
Yeah.
But my friend never even had that card. He was just playing mind games.
And on top of that,
Shit like that.
It's
Right,
also
Just like the enemy, bro. Send
Yeah.
a motherfucker to the shadow realm.
Damn.
Like-
no, but like that's so fucking crazy.
But, like, playing on
You're
the whole
adopted. What? Nothing.
playing on the whole psychology thing, it also kind of has to do with like trends within like, you know, the Yu-Gi-Oh market, like say like what cards have come out in like the latest
What's
set.
good today sucks tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Like some of us run decks from like say like from themes that have been like introduced like say many years ago.
10 years ago now.
10 years ago, some even.
Yeah.
But like there are some modern decks that will like break the bank for like $3,000 just for like 40 cards plus. But yeah, it's just because of the fact that they would be dominating strategies. They would place first in like tournaments and shit like that. And it's just, you know, just whatever, you know, deck happens to be the most expensive and what happens.
But like that, like okay, so with all the decks and stuff, it kind of like the way that I think about it is with music, and it's just like there's new songs that come out every week.
Yeah.
You know, and you can download all of them. Everyone's gonna play them that weekend. You know, like no matter what club you go to, that new song is being played. So is that kind of the same way where
Yeah.
In
It
some
really
ways,
is.
and then from time to time, you'll have that like golden gem that someone will toss out there, like you know, in tournaments, like
right?
you know,
It's
someone
like
will
throwing
pull
that
out-
like that ABBA song, you know,
Exactly.
in the random like it,
You know?
and it's like it's an oldie but a goodie type shit. It worked. You
in
know?
our case.
ABBA's nothing but bangers. Like,
True, but like
I
it's
used to hate on that shit when I was a kid because my mom used to always drag us to Reno to go watch Mamma Mia, and I'd be like, "Mom," I was like, "Why you like this shit?" She's like, "I don't know, I like you, mijo," and I'd be like, "All right," and then I grew up and I'd be like, "Damn, these songs."
kind of slap.
Why'd you leave me, bitch? Some random shit, you know, like would come up in my head, like some emotions. I'd be like, damn it, musicals are good. But no, like all this nerd shit, though. I know we strayed into a deep delve away from the previous question, but just like with your music and how you were explaining, like you like kind of fucking around with anything random and getting into new things. Like what I think every person like us gets from being, whether your channel is about Yu-Gi-Oh like us or comic books, is it's an escape from reality, but in a healthy way. Like a lot of us and a lot of our friends, a lot of our friends grew up in terrible neighborhoods, or we had shitty high schools where like Teachers fucking had relations with students. People killed each other, unfortunately. Dumb shit that a kid shouldn't be exposed to. And for all of our lives, either friends growing up without fathers, things like that a lot of our friend group have, the fantasy escape has always been provocative, even from childhood.
Right.
Like turning up your fucking cartoons in your room so you could stop hearing adults yell at each other so loud. Playing your Game Boy because you got fucking beat on by some more like hood kids at your school that day or some shit, you know, like whatever the case may be, your fucking home life sucks, but you can go to your friend's house who's lucky enough to have a PS2 and you guys can play fucking games for a little bit before you go back to your shitty household, you know, like that's what all this nerdy ass shit stems from for all of us.
Right.
We, like I said, at first we all used to have shame about it, like, you know, because we come from parts where, you know, you get roasted on the bus, you gotta sometimes for no reason, even though you know there's no point, sometimes you gotta stick up for yourself just because it's like, if I let this guy make fun of me today, I'm gonna have to let it happen every day. So fuck that. And like,
we were talking about that the last episode.
Yeah, we all come from shit where we're just like, we needed escapes from reality in one way or another, and we all bonded over that. And once we became more mature men, we were able to speak on that and talk about our traumas, our pains, or whatever. And that's what's so awesome about this shit is now I get to give it to the other generation, because our goal has always been one day, because we also sell cards and collectibles and shit like that. Like, and for me, it's an excellent side hustle. Helps me, you know, like I was like, oh, Yugi-Oh starting to make me money. I'll buy a Rottweiler, you know, like just do dumb shit like that. Like,
shout out Canela.
Yeah, shout out Canela. I miss you, girl. You know, I would have brought your ass, but you're big and you're clumsy.
She's huge.
Yeah,
she's huge.
She would have heated up the
room.
room.
She's the biggest lapdog I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, she's a big idiot. But really, that's why like I love when I hear you and my Christian talk about your music and stuff, or like your shows you guys did, or how much fun you have, is because to me, I got to a point in my life where I used to be so insecure, so ashamed of things I like, so concerned about what other people thought. This was obviously like in my earlier 20s and shit, like a lot of us go through, but eventually I just came to a point where it's like, I just get so excited when people are excited about something they like. Like, I want to learn about, like, even if I don't know shit about it, tell me about it. Explain to me, like, what it is, what are you doing, what makes you happy, and like, being on things like this, for us, is always fun, because we just like shooting the shit and hearing why people do. And you may say they're dumb questions, but we like this shit. To us, it's a challenge for someone who never fucked with like anime or card games to like ask us questions and be like, because for us, we're like, how the fuck do I explain this to him without like making him want to like blow his brains out tonight, you know? Like,
but like, no, that's a cool thing, because even with me, like, talking to people about like throwing events and everything, or like whatever, who are just like civilians, you know, and like they just do other things, right? It's the same way that you guys are kind of talking to me, where it's just like, I just, you know, like, it's way harder to explain it to you. It's easier to just show you. You know what I mean? Which is what you guys are kind of doing with your channel. Every time I go over, you guys are always playing. I'll ask one question, and then like I'll come back the next week, and then I'll know what's going on a little bit more, and then I'll ask another question, you know, and just get it like funneled in a little by little. But like with you guys, and you just mentioned it being that you guys are going to like share it with the new generation. Like let's just say in like 5 years, right? Like where do you think that the community is going to be in, you know, like the whole Yu-Gi-Oh space, or like even just cards in general? Because you play Magic. I mean, you guys all play Magic.
No, I do.
He primarily does.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like all that stuff, whether it's like Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, board games, like all types
I want to play Dungeons and
like
Dragons. I'll put it, dude. We should do a whole podcast playing Dungeons and Dragons. That would be crazy.
We are actually.
Is it hella long? Like, how long would it be? Is it like
you're gonna have to build it from head to toe?
It depends. But however, it's funny you say that, because our friend group, we have like veteran players and also like amateur and
people
then
who've dabbled.
We are purposely right now we are organizing a campaign to start, and we specifically want people who've never played before. We're gonna have enough people who have to make it a little more fluid.
Pop the cherry.
But we're trying to
I'm down.
Pork,
yeah,
more like
Let me out. Let's go.
I just warn you, like, it's so funny because every time I've gotten somebody new into that level of like nerddom, they're always hella reluctant, hella like, I don't think I'm gonna like it and stuff, and then
They end up loving it.
they end up fucking like the most into it, and
Yeah.
like, you know, you just get to build this. You're almost it's like acting almost, you know,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time, and like there's so many elements to it, and then with the right people too, you know, because obviously you want to take it serious, but with the right people, you have the moments where, you know, you break and you do things like that, and yeah, that'd be funny. I would love to see Danny fucking play D&D for.
Dude, like,
What do you
the-
think? What class do you think Danny could be? I feel like he could be a bard since he's like
Musically
inclined.
He would love that. Yeah, he would love to just like distract the guards with a sick ass loot riff.
empower our attack.
That'd
He'll
be
be
hella
like-
funny. That'd be dope.
He'll be like-
Yeah, like I'm like,
He
there's
can-
so
he can-
much.
We can find a way to where he can make like music waves that have like such strong bass.
Oh hell
That
yeah!
just like
Paralyzes them.
People just come.
Your enemies would
How are you gonna fight
implode.
if
Dude.
you're busting a nut? You know, like have at the.
There's bard spells that
Yeah.
make your enemies implode. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll
Dude,
find a
that'd
way
be
to
sick.
write that in.
Yeah, no, like dude, that honestly, that whole like world, like there's so many, like that's the thing, like it's not, it's such a different universe, you know, like that, like if once you get into anime, you're gonna get into other things, and like it's gonna be like. You started off with cards maybe, and then all of a sudden it's anime, and then next thing you know, it'll go into like now you're reading all the manga or and everything else, and then like now you're just so like submerged in this community, and they have like all these conventions and stuff like that. So
See, and that's
Shit's
one
tight,
thing
man.
I want
Yeah.
to talk about as of late is that there's with how famous it's gotten, there's been like an oversaturation in like the convention scene nowadays. Like this year,
would
for
a
the-
convention be like your guys' festival?
basically
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Like
but most people go for like guests of honor, like say like voice actors, people who are in the industry,
Right,
you know,
right,
other
right.
stuff like that.
Like the bigger things is what you go to that are more like you make a trip of like Comic-Con and shit like that, because that's where you can like see movie trailers, really meet celebrities, like get into get exclusive merch that is worth hella money.
Hell, even
and then you
musical
flip
guests.
It, like
So,
that's part of like the appeal of all the nerd shit.
but
too, is
as
this
of
dumb shit used to get us made fun of. Now we sell
Oh, yeah.
some pieces of paper for like hundreds of dollars.
yeah.
Like, so
and not to mention, you know, Billy that used to bully you in high school, you know, is all of a sudden a fan of Demon Slayer. So, you know, there's that shit to deal with too.
Oh, it's always
But-
like a full circle, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it all comes around.
Yeah.
Everybody realizes like, oh shit, I do like this.
You aren't as weird as I thought.
But it's been so oversaturated. It's funny you mentioned conventions because this year at AX, like there was no walking
Anime
room
Expo.
whatsoever. Anime Expo. Yeah. So for those
Big
of you who don't
fucking
know, Anime Expo is like probably
videos.
one of the biggest conventions out in the out in SoCal, and they always get like the most you know famous guests, like people who are in the industry, obviously. But like this
Like
year,
Tara
because
Strong, she's like half your childhood if you've
Exactly.
ever watched Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network.
But
or
they'll
anything,
get
you
like
know?
famous animators or like people in like say sometimes the video game industry
Right.
or like famous musicians, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as of late, it's just been so oversaturated. This year, like everyone was literally shoulder to shoulder. Like they kind of failed to put like a decent cap in the convention, like you know, sales and shit like that.
Yeah.
To where,
Yeah.
again, it's just a lot of like oversaturation.
Yeah.
So there needs not to try to be like a purist and stuff, like, you know, stay away from my anime, you know, but I feel like there needs to be like a cap in like the convention scene nowadays.
Yeah,
because
see, when I was younger, I used to be bitching about how hard it was to get tickets to the bigger conventions. Like, because I was like working in high school and then fresh out of high school, not making much money back then. Minimum wage is like $8-9, you know,
Yeah.
in the Bay Area. And like, I could never get or even get in to buy or even afford the tickets if I did get it. And then now as an adult, I'm like, sometimes I go places like even fucking Disneyland, and sometimes I was like, man, I hate people.
yeah, it's starting to
Dude,
get more
yeah.
expensive.
I'm a skinny dude, but after a while, I start Shao Kanin motherfuckers in the damn like crowd. I'm like, oh, just throwing shoulders.
But on top of that, it's getting more expensive too. Like just to kind of put it to
Everything.
scale,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Fanime, FanimeCon, which is a convention out here in San Jose. They
Yeah.
hold it at the McHenry Convention
Yeah,
Center.
yeah, my boys actually spun there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, trust me, and like music stuff too. Like even the
Hell
music
yeah.
stuff. Like I used to go to Cali Roots every year because like
Yeah.
reggae is one of my favorite types of music. I mean, I'm almost like you, where like I almost like everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oldies, hip hop, and metal will always be my top three. Oldies always number one, but reggae is just another big piece. But like even Cali Roots. When I started going early in its years, like I started going like its mid-year. I think my first year at Cali Roots was like its 5th or 6th year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went like 4 or 5 years in a row. And over time, it just got so fucking packed and so just like
Commercialized.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it stopped being easier to like meet artists and talk to them because they weren't walking around as much because it's hella fucking busy. And then like, again, not to be a gatekeeper or a purist, but like I'd go to these concerts and hella motherfuckers would be camping to get the front seats on the lawn stages and shit. And then when the shows would start, like, not to be that weirdo, but I'd notice like ain't nobody singing no words to no songs. Like
It is one of
Yeah.
and just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, and I'm just like you're just here to fucking get high. And
Yeah.
don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, so am I. But
But-
I love these artists and
Right.
like metal shows too, or like High Road Day in Oakland. Like
I mean,
a
like,
lot of like
as much as I'm
hipsters,
like a
white people from Berkeley now just be up in there hella like all over the place, and like I have
Yeah.
no place because I'm not from Oakland, but it's still like annoying when I like lose tickets to some handlebar mustache dude from
Yeah.
Portland who just came here because he has more money than me.
Yeah.
and can afford to stay in the cities in the Bay. Like
But again, overall, it's just getting more expensive because, like, again, to put it comparatively with Fanime that just happened, from what I heard, back in the day, for a whole weekend pass, from Friday to Monday, it would be $50 for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
This was back in like 2003, around that time. Nowadays, for just a 2-day pass, and these are for the least days that people want to go to, like Sunday, Monday.
There's nobody there anymore by that time.
yeah, all the famous people are gone. Like you're gonna meet some guy who was like a dog's voice in like some random
Exactly.
cartoon
Yeah,
or some
yeah,
shit, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Or closing ceremonies, and like you'll miss out on like a bunch of items that people
President
bought
of a fan
already.
club.
Yeah.
But nowadays, for those 2 days alone, $93.
Damn.
Yeah. For a whole weekend, it would just be
Oh,
expensive.
dude, that ain't
Yeah.
shit.
So-
Cali Roots, I mean, I used to get a whole 3-day pass for like maybe 200, and then by the time I stopped going, like it was like almost 200 a day.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like, and don't get me wrong, they always book hella good artists because
It's like Outside Lands. Outside
the
Lands is
dope
like an
thing,
arm and a
the
leg.
dope thing about Cali Roots is it has hella history in the venue it is, because that's the venue like Jimi Hendrix lit his guitar on fire, which
Right.
I learned there because like even though I grew up
That's the
listening
fun
to a
fact.
lot
That's
of
like Shoreline. And you're
Yeah.
like, the Grateful Dead built this.
yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that was
even though I grew up
coming.
listening to like classic rock, like I did. Yeah, I was like there in Monterey. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know that fact because I'm young. I'm just a transplant baby because even though I'm an early '90s baby, my brothers are way older than me. So I grew up with all their '80s shit and like things they like because they
Right.
grew up with hella '70s shit that my dad showed them. Like, and with Cali Roots, like they also book hella hip hop artists, which is dope for me because I like rap also. So like it'd be all the reggae bands I like, then fucking like Atmosphere, E40, like Brother Ali, like
Yeah.
Nas. I saw Nas there one year, like random ass artists.
That
I'm
was when
just
he
like-
did that one album with what's it, Damian Marley, right?
Yeah, it was years after that, but
They did that album,
happened
right?
to be he happened to be there too, and that's another thing is going to Cali Roots all those years. I've seen Damian Marley, I've seen Stephen Marley perform. Like I've seen the tribute they did to their dad. I've like, and that's the best part about like music or anything you're into that you're passionate about is like when you learn about it, you would never think that you cared at first. Like listening to music, you'd be like, oh, I just like these songs and these songs make me feel good or this song
Right.
is great. And then you learn that person's actually kind of cool. Oh shit, this artist I likes the same things I like. That's cool. Like you almost get fangirled, you
Right,
understand,
right,
like you want to
right.
kick your feet up while you're on the phone type shit,
Yeah, yeah.
like, and after a while it sucks. Like I said, not trying to sound like that boomer or that fucking like gatekeeper, but it sucks after a while when you start going to your events or go into something you're passionate about and you see a bunch of like fucking posers. There's just people who are there to take a quick picture. It's like when you see rich people at courtside seats to an NBA Finals game who are on their fucking phones the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or they
Like,
leave after at halftime.
or they leave at halftime or some shit, or like
they just need to be on the jumbotron.
You know what I mean? Or like
get that Instagram pic.
like I'll never forget when the Niners lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. When the Super Bowl first started, I was hella pissed because they had like those two famous girls who were blowing up on TikTok when it like first came out there as like special guests, and I was like, why the fuck are they there? I was like, you couldn't have given that to like some dying kids with cancer or something who love football. Like, why the fuck are they there? Like, and like I said, I'm not trying to sound like a bitter bitch, but when your shit starts to be like, because we always preach like it's good if people want to learn about stuff and like come into something they're new to, because never gatekeep it. You should want people to learn about it, but it sucks when you go to something you used to be passionate about and now it's just a bunch of chodes and douchebags like abusing the market, like rich dickheads like Logan Paul buying Pokemon cards and overpaying, not doing his research, and ruining the market for everybody else. Like, trickle effects of these bros like fucking up.
Like that
shit.
video of him opening the fake boxes.
And again, it's like these are the motherfuckers that would have made fun of you for the same shit in high school too.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're into the same shit that you like. It's like bro, you made fun of me for this shit.
Yeah, I think right now, like, I don't know, like because of the internet, like it's really hard. Back in the day, you knew where everyone was, right?
Yeah.
Like you knew who the jocks were, you knew who were the skaters, you just knew. But like probably from like 2012 and onward, everyone's kind of just been the same. No matter if you're from New York, LA, whatever, because of the internet, we're all kind of like morphing into this one thing. And then there's like some of us who are like, you know, like really or know ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And then like when like those like when things start getting commercialized, you know, like even with like music, right? Like we used to go to like BFD and stuff like that, and like it would just be normal kids, but then all of a sudden it was all these rich kids who are transplants because their parents are here.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden the tickets for like anything from like BFD to fucking I forgot the Warp Tour
Or Mayhem,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like everything like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
You know? And it just sucks.
Same. I remember me and Shanzi looked at Shoreline tickets just for some random comedy show with like a bunch of not even that famous people. And we were going to pay more to go to a random comedy show that we just wanted to see at Shoreline than me and Sean paid a couple years like before the pandemic. We saw fucking Chris Tucker and Dave Chappelle in a box for cheaper than what like lawn seats were gonna. I was like, something doesn't seem right. I was like,
was that for the Wild 949 like comedy thing?
I don't remember what the event was, but it was a while ago. It was before all of Dave Chappelle's like big Netflix specials and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah, because I remember seeing like Fluffy there, like 2015, 14 or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why is Fluffy here?
Hell, I feel like
I
that
heard he's pretty good live. I heard he knows how to work
He's hilarious.
I know I heard he knows how to work a crowd well, which is refreshing because I was worried about him because I always compare him to like Cat Williams, where I like both of them. I think they're both hilarious, but I feel like once you've seen one, you've seen them all for their stand-ups. Like, not saying every comedian needs to be super like very topical and connected to reality like Dave Chappelle or George Carlin or things like that, but it is refreshing when you know like, oh, I don't know what to expect from this special, but sometimes you get a lot of the same shit. But all these events are just getting hell of expensive now, so it sucks whether it's music, nerd shit, or even just like
okay, so but like also with you guys, right? You also like you guys buy and sell cards, right?
Yeah.
So isn't that kind of like also kind of beneficial, right?
Oh, dude, it's
some
amazing.
ways, you know what I mean? So
It's
like
amazing.
it's cool.
It's a self-feeding. It's almost like it's weird because selling cards, it's like running a business in the sense where like it makes money to keep making money.
Right.
Like once you've made enough money off of it, you can throw so much into it that you get such a big inventory. Every time new sets of Yu-Gi-Oh come out, I can just always buy more.
Right.
And I buy the new cards, and because I'm somebody who doesn't like, I stopped playing competitively and took it more as like I'm just gonna focus on the YouTube and like putting like, you know, keeping into contact with players and learning about the game.
Yeah.
Like I just sell everything. Like if I pull a really expensive card, I don't need it. I could just sell it, and like it's funny because like people don't understand. Well, now people are starting to catch on, but like a comic books and cards and shit, like a lot of the stuff I own, especially hella sports memorabilia I've collected over the years, like some of this shit I paid pennies for years ago, and now like 200, 300, 400% increases in their price. Like I've helped pay my car off with like Pokemon cards before. I have a friend who sold a Charizard for over $10,000. Like, you know, like it's shit's fucking funny once you start to actually make sense of it, you know? And like I have friends who have things like I have a friend who put his little sister and her friend through college with a comic book, you know, like shit like that. Like just it's great. Like once you find a way to not make your habit like,
I think the only real like factor like which you know, you could even apply this to music too, and like, you know, in the live concert scene is like, you know, the scalper scene, you know, like, you know, secondhand scalpers and shit, because a lot of like product or a lot of like stuff gets bought out, you know, especially nowadays with like say Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, you know.
It was bad during COVID.
Oh yeah, COVID was the worst contributor
that
to
was
the
something that
scalping
affected
market.
our channel too, because we started it a little bit before, and it took like a year to actually start building traction where we realized like, oh, we're actually realistically, like we'd look at the, like you probably do, we look at the analytics and we saw our like average viewers per and subscribers per week, and we're like, oh, we're actually gonna hit like 500 soon. Like we need to start thinking of, and we slack on it once in a while, but we're pretty good at making a bill. Like, hey, I have, like we use Slack, we text, all this shit, like we post thumbnails, everything, and we'll be like, oh, we're gonna make this and this through, you know, this month and stuff. But like once we seen that we needed to take it more serious, like it just becomes a habit of like actually committing to it and like trying to keep up with that. Not a demand, because we've never really had people like begging us for videos, but it was more of like us figuring
trying
out,
to be consistent.
Yeah, us figuring out what we could do, you know, and that was tough at first, and the pandemic put a halt on that because a lot of us didn't have jobs where you got to stop. You know, like, and I know it was hard for some of the people who had to stop, but like we all had jobs where we actually ended up working more through the pandemic. So like all of our hobbies and side shit suck, and it's like not using it as an excuse, but that I think that's a big reason why barely being almost at 2,500 instead of at 5K, the pandemic had a lot to do with that, because right when we were hitting steam and taking it serious, all of us had realities. Plus he's always been working and still finishing his college, so like his schedule's hella compacted. And then I was in between jobs and shit. Not putting them too on blast and not getting into details, but they both have situations where they have other people relying on them financially too. So like they obviously during pandemic we all had to buckle down and couldn't really do that shit, and then it trickled into laziness, right? Because you're so exhausted with real life and work, and so like I said, not an excuse, but that definitely sucked for the channel, because we could have, that was at the point too where people were starting to fuck with us and being like, we were actually getting retweets and responses, and like we've even had people be like, hey, if you keep making videos, like we'll fuck with you, and then we just had like, because they were all established already, so throughout the pandemic they're making videos for tens of thousands of subscribers already, versus us, we had finally just broken into 1,000 plus, and that's when people start to take you serious. Once you have like 2,000 or 3,000, you know, then people say like, oh, at least you have enough going on where people keep coming back, right? And then honestly, when you first start to get to the high hundreds, it's the bots are annoying. You'll see hell of 6 subsibers lose.
I'm waiting for the bots, so Google send them through. Get that subscriber count.
We gotta get our mods.
They're gonna be annoying. They're just gonna send you links.
Listen, man, I have 2,000 emails. It's like the sex I'll get you 2,000 subs tonight if you show me your titties. You know what though? Hold on. I have to hit a hard left curve, because we've all been talking, and I know this is the George.Daniel podcast. Oh my god. But push him to the side for a second. Editor, put the crying Jordan on his face. Matt, we haven't even asked you any of these questions. I see the Daredevil comics on the wall.
Oh,
so even if it's not,
shit.
What is your experience with all of our, as he calls it, anime shit?
Oh,
anime shit.
I was more Pokemon.
Yeah. We're big Pokemon too.
Yeah. So I'm 35. So I was like 11 in 99 when all the stuff went down and Pokemon dropped. So I'm a big Pokemon My best friend has a Pokemon channel. It's TCG Battles, where he does. We do Pokemon openings, and I do production for that too. So everything you guys are saying, it all sounds similar. I've watched him do his thing. He's up to like 1.5 something. So
fuck,
he's
let him
pretty
know
decent.
because
he's pretty up there. We just went to a Pokemon convention too.
Nice.
In LA.
Let him know because we've seen bigger channels do collabs with like Magic channels. We want to find a Pokemon player who we can swap product openings and we try to guess what we think is worth money. Because even though we collect Pokemon cards here and there,
oh yeah, he wouldn't know with Yugi. I don't think.
Same.
Yeah,
and
so
we wouldn't know
funny.
for Pokemon, so it'd be great.
He's
but-
like, that'd be actually pretty funny. He would definitely be down though.
And we won't judge you on this question. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. We will. Your favorite Pokemon?
No, it's pretty basic. It's like the most basic if you can guess it.
Squirtle.
Mine's Gengar.
It's Charizard.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up playing Red.
Which version? No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I was gonna say, no, just the original. I have one of the original base set 99 Charizard in my room, and I got it PSA'd recently, but it only PSA'd at 7.
Dude,
so
they did the same
it's
shit
not
to me.
bad. But I got that when I was a kid. I went to the mall and traded some card shop because I wanted it so bad. I gave him like 3 hollows and like $20.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me, and I had it for 20 something years. And then my friend was like, "I'm gonna start PSAing stuff. You want to PSA your Charizard?" I did it, and it came out as a 7. I was like, all right, it's not bad.
No, that's still not bad.
$400 or $500
No.
maybe. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
And that's the thing. Same thing for my most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card I own. It's a first edition from the original set, Thousand Eyes Restrict, which even if you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh that much, it was Pegasus's boss monster, the main first bad guy.
Yeah.
And that one, my brother was into Magic when I was a kid. My brothers are like all 8 and 10 years older than me, so they're like up there, and they played Magic when Yu-Gi-Oh was like new, and they would buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards because it was worth hella money, but not to play it, just to sell them back to the shop and stuff. And I'll never forget, my brother had that card for hella long. He's like, "Oh, I actually like this one," and he kept it for hella years. And then hella years ago, when he had his daughter, he was like, "Oh, I found my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I kept." He's like, "You can have this," and he gave it to me, and it was still in a top loader, hella good condition. And I got it graded years ago, and same thing. Even though the centering's good, and I swear there's nothing really wrong with it, they gave it an 8, and I was like, what sucks about a card that old is the 2 off from perfect is like a $2,000 difference.
Exactly.
Like, it's insane, but it's still an expensive card. I also have a gold Groudon that's worth hella money.
Hell yeah.
But like,
See, you want to know something? There's actually a new like, I don't know what it is. There's like a new grading platform right now that actually like uses AI to scan cards and like grade them and stuff like that. And from what I hear,
I don't want no Terminator
I
grading my
think,
shit.
yeah, we were at the
I
the
got an ad
Pokemon
for it.
convention,
You know who I
and they
want?
were there, and they were talking about, I forget the name, but they do everything through
but
AI.
apparently like
I
they
don't know
do
if you can-
give them like a higher grade if it is in like a better condition.
I don't know if you can put a picture of him up right here above my hand, but you know who needs to be grading our cards instead of AI? That fucking old guy who cleaned Woody. I want that fucking guy with his little dust brush to be like, this Charizard is a 10. You know, like, I need some shit like that because that shit is ass nowadays. Like with comic books too, like I have like all the rare variants. I have like the whole Lethal Protector series for Venom when he first became an anti-hero. And like I have, my brother has like first print Maximum Carnage's, like Carnage's first appearance, and like my cousin Oscar he used to own a comic shop, so he has bonkers shit. But like, and then one of my friends has sold very expensive comic books. But like with grading shit nowadays, it's like they're so weird about things, like things you can't control, and that's what sucks with quality control and shit. Like sometimes you buy new cards and
it's like a print line or something.
People can buy pull expensive cards, and then it's all ruined because the factory pressed on it too hard or something, or like
Or they cut it wrong.
cut it wrong.
Yeah, it's like misaligned or the font of
that
like, the
literally
text is
happened.
like in a different part of
my
the box.
buddy,
Right.
my buddy opens Pokemon cards.
That's crazy.
And
But
he came and opened all the cards, and we pulled this Aerodactyl that would normally be worth like $200 at the time or something, but it had like a factory ding, and he was like, "Wow." He's like, "Now I just have to keep it," and I was like, "Damn, that sucks," you know.
yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, like cards are like like a lot of the memorabilia, right?
Yeah.
It's just they're like shoes. in a sense.
Essentially.
You know what I mean? Like
expensive Jordans, yeah.
Right,
You never
like if
know
it-
what's going to be worth it, so you hold on to everything.
Right.
Some's are losses, some's are wins.
Yeah, and like the whole thing is just like,
Shout out my De La Soul dunks. But I skated 2 pairs till they ripped open.
jeez, why?
Because I was a kid, dude, and I thought they were fresh, and I wanted to skate them. They were skate
You
shoe at the
did
time, and that
what
was
you
like,
did what
Yeah,
they were made for, dude. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Yeah.
like that's why everyone always gets mad about that. They're like, dude, that's what they made them for.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
but
I
yeah.
can't cry over spilled milk,
Yeah.
but I definitely try to lick the puddle out.
That's hella funny. But like, yeah, they're kind of like shoes, where it's just like it's also like almost like culture based, you know, where it's just like just because it's an old card, just because it's a whatever, like a famous character or whatever.
Poster
Yeah.
child mascot.
Yeah,
would have a lot
like,
to do with it.
Like what?
Charizard.
It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Like hell, the base set Pikachu, the original Pikachu Pokemon card, like that's even worth money, and that's like a common printed card, like no foil on it or anything.
Right.
Like, but that's apparently in good condition, is selling for like a decent price.
But would you say that that's kind of like getting your first like Jordan 1s? You know, it's just like, okay, like yeah, you have to get one. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anybody who collects anything. Because here's the thing that's always been funny to me. I always talk about when you're a nerd, there's 3 types of people you have to explain it to, and it'll be the hardest conversation of your life. It's your parents, specifically if you're a minority. Like with us, like our parents and stuff growing up, like we'd always get like,
and they still don't get it.
you know,
Yeah.
¿por qué quieres esta chingadera? You know, like parents could never fathom, why am I buying this like dragon, like card
Yeah.
paper thing, you know, and like, so
Shiny
it's
cardboard.
your parents.
Exactly.
that's what everyone always says.
It's your parents,
God.
people you meet, and your girl. Those are the 3 hardest conversations as a nerd to explain. But if you find ways to make the understanding, it's easy. Because a lot of times in my experience with my parents, I'd explain to my mom, like, and my dad too, I'd be like, hey, think about like all the money you put into your classic car and all the little knickknacks you buy. And like for my mom, I'd be like, you collect old Disney VHSs. You know, you used to, when Craigslist was like early, you were bidding and like buying things like it's the same thing. Or like for people I meet who don't understand it, I'm like, because I'm, like I said, we like a little bit of everything. We're not just defined by like the nerd shit. We all like sports. We all go
Right.
out, do activities. Like, you know, we have other hobbies, but like,
I'm glad to know you guys are here.
yeah, so it's like, and then with girls too, like a lot of the times when I would have relationships, most of the girls I talked to would be into a lot of the same subject. But if I ever was dating or talked to a girl who didn't understand the things I was into, I'd be like, well, you have like fucking 7 statues of Stitch in your room doing different poses. Like he's almost like a Ken doll. Like, here's Space Stitch. Here's Pirate Stitch. You know, like, well, that's me with 5 different artworks for Blue Eyes White Dragon, bitch. What's the fucking difference? Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
your shit's actually more expensive. I could build a Blue Eyes deck right now, $35. You know, like, but your Loungefly backpacks from fucking, you know, like, and that's the thing. Everybody has hobbies. Same thing with like other people I meet, or like a lot of my theos who are like more hood or like just macho men from the old school days. They'll be like, why are you always wearing shit with like Japanese girls with their titties out? And I'm just like, first of all, her titties are not out, sir. We all wish they were, but they're
Yeah.
not, you know, like, but like stupid shit like that, right? I'd just explain to him in ways, I'd find connections to be like, well, look at all the signed baseballs you have, and they're not even famous baseball players. They're just the baseball player who would sign your ball at spring training.
Yeah.
You know, like, so fuck you. At least I have shit worth money, you know? Like,
Right.
obviously just joking, but finding those common ground, those connections, you know? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
like, we all are into weird, different shit. Like,
Yeah.
just be thankful I'm not some dude who collects people's hair that I've met, you know?
Yeah,
like, it could
yeah,
be a
yeah.
lot worse, you know? Like,
The Charlie's Angels guy.
right? I could part my hair like that.
Oh god.
That should be fly.
Dude, honestly, you could pull it off.
New Halloween costume?
Dude,
No,
do it. Do Halloween costume.
No, I was gonna be a One Piece character this year for Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
But
Dude,
Did
that's
you hear about the Netflix show?
yeah.
You know what? Second trailer came out today.
Did it?
Yeah.
look any
It
better?
actually looks good.
Looks good. It looks decent.
Yeah.
My buddy plays in the tournaments recently. He's been going
Oh,
out
for the
playing
cards? Yeah, same thing with
TCG,
Art
yeah.
Takeo.
Yeah,
Takeo's
He
been
just got
playing.
into it, but he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, bro. They showed the fishmen. They actually look legit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Their CGI
For those of you
budget
who
looks
know
insane.
One Piece.
I'm telling you, people, it's so sad. Like, that's a Netflix show, and the CGI budget looked insane. And like, I saw The Flash a couple weeks ago, and that shit was ass.
Oh my
It was like
God,
Scorpion King in the Mummy 2 level CGI. I was like, how? It's 2023. This makes absolutely no sense. Like, this looks like a CGI transition in a
In Golos.
Zabumafu.
Yeah.
The fucking claymation in Zabumafu looked better than that shit. I'd take that lemur leaping along any day. fuck, man. But that's the thing, is it's like build common connections with people and then make them understand your like your
world.
You know, your hobby, your world.
Yeah,
like it's super simple. Like once you realize like, oh, I get why you like that because it does the same thing that this does for me, or like I get your hobby because you know. But except for furries, we shame them.
Dude, one time I walked into a furry convention, and it was like
They hold them out here in San Jose.
Yeah, that's where it was. That
Yeah.
was the best event we ever been to in our lives. Was one Yu-Gi-Oh tournament at the San Jose convention. It was a regional.
Right.
There was 4 things going on. There was the Yu-Gi-Oh regional, like 600 players, a good amount.
No, it was like, I forgot how many it was. There was a lot of people.
Yeah, it was like, was it more?
I don't know.
It was a good amount, but that was going on. A Harry Potter convention,
damn.
a furry convention, and a high school girls volleyball tournament. So
That sounds about right.
When the night ended and all the events were coming to a close,
Yeah.
you go out into the parking lot, and most Yu-Gi-Oh players, if I'm being honest, they're all just like stoners. Like Magic's the like older nerds who gatekeep. Typically, there's a lot of cool Magic players. Like I play Magic too.
Magic
like,
reminds me
but
of like,
Magic's like the old school, like people who are a little bit more like close-minded. Yu-Gi-Oh's a bunch of stoners and like hip hop heads and like motherfuckers who just listen to like people under the stairs.
Some
all
cringe
day and,
lords
like, you
though.
know,
Some cringe lords.
Some cringe lords. A lot of dudes who don't know how to shower.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plenty of those actually. And then like a bunch of ghetto kids who like anime. That's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players too. And then so you get out of this event at the convention center and there's fucking furries, a bunch of stoners smoking blunts walking down the street. Dads clutching their high school fucking volleyball teams close like a bunch of penguins.
Yeah.
And then fucking Slytherin and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw and shit just like all walking around. And I was like, this is a part of a multiverse I never thought I would be in. And
dude,
like, and I'll never forget, you met Gary.
Yeah,
Gary's our homie. He's just a really friendly dude. He's hella bubbly. He's just like this black dude with dreads. He's black and Vietnamese, and he's just like a very friendly dude. He's always like listening to music, shaking his dreads, saying hi to everybody. But sometimes it's to a fault. He'll say hi to anybody, right? When we first got to the event, we're walking through the hallway or like through the parking garage, and there's a dude in full furry garb, right? Like straight up, like in his blue wolf costume, going through his trunk. And then no one plans to say shit. And right when we're about to get to him, Gary's just like, hey man, sick costume. And then the dude does like this little cute paw to us, or girl, I don't know, you know. This person was in the costume and did like a cute paw to us. And then once we get far enough away, our homie Brent was just like, good job, Gary. Now he has our scent. And I was like, damn, I'm going to be terrified if we're driving on the freeway home later and this fool's keeping up with us on all fours in that costume.
To be fair, that's commitment. That's staying into character.
He did. He hit us with that little curtsy paw. I was like, okay.
Although, you know what's wild, though? I'd like to shed a little bit of light on, like, the furry community, because, like, my girlfriend, you know, not to try to, like, put her on blast or anything, but she's kind of, like, an avid, you know, furry enthusiast. She actually runs, like, a YouTuber, or a VTuber, channel on Twitch, and her audience actually caters to, like, furries and whatnot. And believe it or not, like, you know,
they're just regular human beings.
even weirder than that, there are regular human beings that probably have better jobs than us.
For sure.
Because how do you think they're able to afford these fucking suits,
dude?
Bro?
No, yeah,
dude, they have better suits than Disneyland sometimes.
Oh yeah,
I've seen furries look at me and like blink. Obviously, I'm just busting chops. Everybody out there, if I offended furry, he knows that I'm just.
Oh yeah, of course,
like,
yeah.
I actually don't care. Sometimes I seen like a furry in battle armor one time. I was like, that's kind of sick, you know, like, but. We're just busting balls, but like, yeah, like, straight up. That's the thing with nerds too. Like, remember Benchwarmers when he's like, I'm just a nerd who grew up to make billions, you know, like, and then he just has like Star Wars statues and a bunch of dumb shit. That's what I do. Like, when you walk into my house, you see a Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet, even if it's a mini, you know, you see comics framed things,
for
dumb
real
shit that I've purchased and that I've enjoyed over the years.
Hell, one of my girlfriend's mutuals who's like a furry and shit is actually a fucking brain surgeon.
Yeah, I believe, like, dude, it's the same way with, like, with us.
I wonder if he's ever finished a surgery successfully, and then, like, when no one was looking, he was like,
this is a little curtsy thing.
Into the dish. He was just like, you know, like, just fucking.
That's like his calling card every time.
He's like, all right. He's like, they're like, good job, doctor. He's like, thank you. They all leave the room. He's like, shit, that was crazy. I'm just fucking
That's
around.
hella
Hey,
funny.
shout out to furries.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
no, I mean, but like genuinely, like, I had a DJ here who she like fucking dresses up. Like she dresses up for
Oh yeah,
everything.
I
Oh,
dress
I
up
bet.
to
You know
Quail
what I
as
mean?
Quail Man
Like,
to every
and, like
convention.
to
So I
me,
can't
it's just
talk
like
shit.
it's like another.
sick.
It's another extension of like your personality, you know.
Yeah.
And like some people can afford to
At a
go
very enthusiast
you know,
level,
Yeah.
yeah.
and like can really like can afford and like love the thing that they do enough to like really throw everything at it and do it like really well, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
That's like
the
cosplay.
casual, right?
Yeah.
There's the normal, like the casual who's just like, I want to just do it, so I'm just gonna like maybe just wear a paw and like a hoodie, you know,
Yeah.
with like you
No,
know
we
with the
have
ears
friends,
on it.
We have friends who cosplay at the competitive level, like LEDs in their costume, like crazy shit. Like,
Yeah.
even amateur friends, like our buddy Francisco, his very first suit that he ever made, it's very amateur, but it's way better than I could
Full
fucking do.
scale.
And he made like a full like Iron Man suit with a couple light up features all by himself from like YouTube and schematics and learning stuff he's never done on the fly at once.
Right.
And like
That was just all
that kind of
commitment.
shit to us is hella cool. Like when we go to conventions, it's one thing for some dude to just like dress simple and everything, like, and everybody does their thing, but when someone shows up and like they're movie level, like they're a transformer, they're some fucking demon or some crazy
Right.
shit, you're just like, damn son, like you're a talented ass person. Like you just made a whole ass costume and like it moves and the mouth moves and like I was like, man, and I wish I could be that person, you know? Like every little kid wanted to be Superman, Spider-Man, Batman at one
Right.
point, you know?
But now people can be any fucking anime character they want. I mean,
Yeah,
shit. Or
it's not-
video game character.
It's not like
shit.
you're just walking down like Hollywood Boulevard, you know. It's not like the Spider-Man from the street. It's like the you know like or it's not just Iron Man. Like this guy's a mask like shuts and closes, lights up, does all
Yeah,
that shit.
Hell, even
you
the
know?
Spider-Man on the street, his suit would be like way more fucking highly budgeted nowadays.
Yeah.
that shit is.
It's not just that $15 spirit at the week after Halloween.
After,
you know?
yeah,
like
that clearance sale.
Now it's like actual some dude who can actually do backflips and shit, like, you know, at these cons, or like people who can cosplay shit, and that's the thing about nerdy shit. It's like you just do what makes you happy at the end of the day. Like,
Right. Yeah, it's the same as like with like our rave shit, right? Like Christian is probably more in the extreme version of me. You know, like he like likes to dress up and like has like a theme for his like outfit and stuff like that.
Yep.
Where I'm just like, I'm wearing black. Like you know, like I'm just trying to, you know,
I think I'll wear a tank top today.
just go real basic, and like that's what I like genuinely enjoy about him is just like the same way that with you guys there's like that overly passionate thing, is really cool, and it's like super inviting, and it's also just something I want to practice, so I need to see it. You know, and I think that's what's really cool with what your guys' channel is and everything. Like you guys mentioned, is like the whole like sharing knowledge to whoever clicks it. You know, because
Yeah.
you're just putting it up, right? You don't know who's gonna see it. And then
At the end of the day, just don't give a shit what people think. Like
Right.
even with your podcast, right? Like just keep interviewing people you give a shit about.
Right.
Who cares
Exactly.
if people care like, oh, who's this? Who's that? Or why are you doing this? Like if it makes you happy, you guys are enjoying what you do, you get who you want, you get the guests you feel are important to your perspective, who you want to learn about, or you want to ask questions, and just keep doing your shit. Like once you start giving a shit what people think, it becomes so much more liberating. You just fucking make it gets easier. Like we used to stutter hell of in our videos
Oh,
and
yeah.
worry about like, oh, let me redo
Read
that.
all the
Like,
comments
Let me
all
do
the time.
let me do a different take. And now like, and it's funny, once we stopped replying to like hateful comments and stuff, we really don't get them anymore. We get a lot of people asking us for free shit or like hinting at free shit, like the oh wow, I need those cards.
It's like, oh, you want a giveaway again?
Yeah.
Now you care about our
Yeah.
giveaways, motherfuckers?
And they're
That's
just
hella
like,
funny.
but we get people all the time who like, we get a lot of subs for our personality. Like we get a lot of comments where like subbed literally for this reference or this stupid thing, or like I remember when Gary was making deck profiles, like some dude commented, he's like, oh shit, Sada baby plays Yugi-Oh. Like then I seen that like we got a sub, you know. I was like, all right, like you know whatever works, like.
right.
Just be ourselves, make the stupid jokes, quote Adam Sandler movies, whatever the fuck we normally do in our day-to-day, you know, like we just do that in our videos, make nerdy shit, buy nerdy things, sell dumb shit, you know, go out, see the world, travel, and then go to different places and see. That's the best part too, right? Like when you go to different countries or go to different states, like finding music venues or finding comic book shops out there, and like talking to different people from different walks of life, but then you find a common connection. You're like, oh shit, I can talk to this person from this state or this country or this walk of life. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
it's very fucking tight, honestly, you know, like liking the same songs, liking the same shit, you know, same band, you know, anything you find a common connection in. That's the whole point of everything we do, right? Like,
Exactly.
I mean,
It's just to find, it's just to find a solid sense of community,
yeah,
right?
100%.
You know,
Build, like I said, build your circle.
right?
Make sure
Because
it's
I mean, we
solid.
all have our 9 to 5s, right? And it's like we have our coworkers, we like our coworkers, maybe we even love some of them, but at the end of the
No.
day,
Fine.
like they're just we're there, you know, because we're there for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And then, but like, it's when you find that community, whether that be music, whether that be cards, whether that be anime, whether that be fashion, whatever it is, you find that community, and then you can really like allow yourself to find yourself, if that makes sense, within the thing that you love.
Yeah.
Using this as like the vehicle to kind of like find even just like your boundaries on things, you know. It's like, yeah, we can bust balls, but it's just like, don't talk about this, or like blah blah blah. And then that be like in like music, some of us aren't like extroverts, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, that's why I have a manager to do all that shit. That's why we do all this, like, you know, you find your community to help you out to execute this thing that
Yeah.
you want to do. But yeah, dude, fucking I need to take a piss.
Yeah.
But okay, first off, cheers.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
Kayla chingada.
I'm not gonna like this.
Yeah, warm tequila.
Woo!
Oh, I know. That's good.
That's the, is that the rocks one?
Yeah,
It's my first time having that.
it's better chilled.
Yeah, it's a lot better chilled. It's good, but
That was thick.
I think warm liquor.
It's
gets-
real agave.
I like tequila. Tequila
Wow.
don't like me.
But okay.
Yeah, he be fighting. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, but it's honestly the like healthiest option out of the like celebrity brands, if that makes sense. Just because he actually uses, he's the only one who actually.
Wait,
uses
which one's that one?
it. Terramana.
Oh shit.
This is not an ad.
I thought you
We've
had
done
the.
so many shout outs to that.
Yeah. But
I mean,
honestly,
maybe he
this
gets
is
a
my
sponsor. Who knows?
dude. Honestly, The Rock, please hit me up.
I thought you had the
is
George
weird.
Clooney one for a minute.
You heard it here, Dwayne.
Yeah,
Yeah, was it
It's-
Casamigos or something?
yeah,
For
Casamigos.
George Clooney?
I don't know. I don't really like Casamigos.
I heard they shorthand
I'm not
on
a
the
big
fermenting
tequila
process
person,
on that
period.
though.
Yeah.
My family all loves tequila. My dad, I mean, he's from Jalisco. My mom loves tequila, but I've always been a whiskey person. I'm weird.
Shout out to George Clooney though, Batman with nipples.
Hell yeah, dude. That was honestly the hottest Batman.
I don't know, man. I like the big chin 90s Batman.
Shit.
Almost crimson chin level. shade.
Yeah, I was about to say. Okay. Final question for all of you guys, right? If regular consumer, what would be the first anime that you would like?
Oh, for someone who never seen?
Yeah. What would you introduce them to?
It's hard.
I already know
That
my
is very
answer. My
hard.
answer is easy. Anybody could like this
One Piece.
No, no.
Anime to start them off.
One Piece is not a starter anime. Unfortunately. I know my answer though.
That's a hard question. Because now I've been watching a lot more anime lately. Because I have Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, you've been gathering.
Don't think too
knowledge
hard
on
about it.
Anime nowadays.
Because for you, like, what was easy for you to watch coming in?
Because I would watch the Adult Swim. Like, that's why I'm Inuyasha. That was like one of the first ones I watched.
Well, then maybe your answer is Inuyasha.
Yeah, but then I feel like it'd be too old for people nowadays.
No,
Yeah.
Inuyasha's timeless.
I mean, for
Yeah,
us,
but you gotta understand the '90s animes, like they're paced pretty
Early
slow.
2000, yeah.
and the
Yeah.
early 2000 ones, like
Yup.
I've showed people Trigun before, and even though I love Trigun, they're like, "This is kind of boring," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, like, just like at first.
fuck you for saying that, but I
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you
Yeah.
for saying that, but I get it. It's like when you watch some corny movies, right? Like Spawn or like the second Mortal Kombat, Annihilation.
Exactly.
They're garbage movies, but we grew up with them, so they have rewatchability. If I showed someone who never grew up with that Mortal Kombat, the second one, the first one's a banger, but if I showed them Annihilation, they'd be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
You know, this is horrible. But
That's like me with Step
But an
Up.
anime to
but don't
start,
think about that. Just if you had to say, if you had to say the first anime to make someone watch.
It just really depends what they want to watch.
Yeah, it
'Cause-
depends on really what they like.
Yeah.
Yeah, do they like the swords? Do they like the mystical stuff?
Yeah.
Do they want action?
Because once again, I'm dumb when it comes to this. Like for
But
me,
Danny
it's
likes
like
a little bit of everything.
for me, it
He's
was
also
like
a very
it's,
well-versed
it's like it
thespian.
obviously started with like Pokemon, then Yu-Gi-Oh, then Avatar, right?
Yeah.
And it was like in that order. And obviously Avatar is like the only. I mean, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just saying this as a basic ass bitch, pretty much. But Avatar is like the only American anime that I would watch.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
and
Right.
honestly, personally, I think that Avatar kind of stands on its own as like.
I almost didn't even consider that as like anime, like while watching it.
Because it was on Nickelodeon, so a lot of
But
people
you
didn't
know,
like it.
But like style, like even just the way it's made and everything.
but people are accepting it now as an anime.
Well,
Right,
He-
but it's an
American
American.
made,
But that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. It has that American.
So what would be your answer then to someone like Danny who likes a little bit of everything and has watched some anime? Like he grew
Yeah.
up with Pokemon like most people.
Right.
He's seen Avatar, so if he likes that kind of action and stuff, what would you suggest to him?
If you want an oldie, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah.
choice. Because that's also got like very.
if you want
a
to
lot of
explain
human
that a
nature.
little bit,
Explain what about it?
like baseline, like
No
you know, what it's all
synopsis.
about. No, not really synopsis, but like a baseline.
There's, I mean, I don't want to call it magic, but you know they have powers.
Action, fighting, mystical
Action,
stuff.
Think of it.
But all centralizing around
Trailer
ghosts.
real quick. Yeah.
Dude,
What about
so-
you then? What is your?
man.
Spiritual stuff.
Okay, cool.
But
cool,
there's
cool.
action.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Spirit Detective?
See, I
is
love
literally what he
Dragon
is.
Ball.
Oh,
Picture
okay.
being an underworld person. So that new movie like R.I.P.D. that came out a couple years ago.
That's a good way to describe
picture
it.
that, but cool and not
But cool.
Yeah.
and not shitty. You
Right,
know?
right,
More fighting centric.
More
Okay,
fighting,
okay,
more
right,
like
right.
combat.
More
like,
Yeah,
substance.
yeah.
Exactly.
What would your recommendation
Oh,
be to
man.
someone like Danny who
Yeah.
is
Okay,
not
so-
complete, like just wants to dip their toes and
So me personally, I've been on like a wide spectrum between period pieces, robot anime, and fantasy style anime. So I would personally give like one of each.
Okay.
So in case you wanted to like try to see,
I know what
you
you're gonna
wanted
say
I
for the
think he
period
could like
piece.
Gundam. I think he would like Gundam a lot. The older Gundams too, they're very gritty.
Oh, yeah.
They're very action movie, very Top Gun, very like
So for the-
Expendables before Expendables kinda,
Exactly.
you know, like
So for the sci-fi,
Boom, bang, bang.
for the
You know,
sci-fi robot side, I would recommend anything in the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. There is a main series to follow, but there's a lot of like side series that kind of tell the same story.
Okay.
But like there's a lot of like pick and choose type of styles. Like eventually you'll come across like maybe like a mobile suit or like a robot that you'll like. You know, it's one of those things.
Right.
On the fantasy side, I'm gonna go a little bit more deep cut. It's an older anime. It's called Record of Lodos War. It's this anime from the 90s. It's very Tolkien fantasy, like Lord of the Rings style
Okay.
D&D type stuff, like
Yeah, yeah,
elves, mystical dwarves.
and that one's an
type of shit.
oldie.
Hell yeah, and
like
it's
88.
really good.
Yeah.
Like,
First writings for that were what, like 88?
I
and
think
then the
so,
first
yeah.
episodes were like 89, 90.
and the writing still holds up to this day. Like
Yeah.
I even think they made a PS4 game recently on the franchise, so that's something that still
That
holds
is
up.
classic like fantasy. It's like a dwarf, a magical mystic chick, a like
Exactly.
night guy. Like it's pretty cool, but
So for
Yeah.
all your fantasy needs, Record of Lodos War is definitely a good one. Now, period piece.
I know what you're gonna say.
Personally, I've been into like a lot of like samurai animes, so Samurai Champloo would be a good one because
especially if you like hip hop.
exactly because
Jobbies
like
did a lot of music for that.
yeah,
Like,
R.I.P. Nujabes, but Samurai Champloo mostly for like a lot of like the music influence, a
Yeah.
lot of hip hop influence, but what I personally like is that it taps into like a lot of like history material. Like they talk about like the first how they might have speculated the first time Japan might have come across baseball might have been in the 1800s, which is very contradictory to like when baseball was invented and shit.
Right.
So it's just a lot of interesting stuff, like both history-wise and like pop culture-wise. So and plus like if you like samurais like me, you know,
I don't look at his hair. And
Yeah, I was about to say.
yeah.
He's
But
just like open his next beer by just like quick little sheath.
I already did it just now, in case you didn't catch it. But yeah, Samurai Champloo, one of my all-time favorites. So
Yeah.
that covers a wide spectrum. What about you? Enough about me. What about you?
Man, mine is super easy off the top because not only does it tackle like a lot of themes that I feel like, because my biggest thing is when I'm introducing anime to someone new is I want to break the stigma for them.
She's a cartoon.
People, there's two things people think every time they watch anime, right? It's that it's either just a cartoon, it's meant for kids. I loop that into one saying, right? And then 2, they think it's just all like action. Every single anime is like Dragon Ball Z, where it's like, and don't get me wrong, a lot of my favorite animes are action animes, but they have more depth than just a monster of the week type theme, you know, and like every new week I'm fighting some new guy, you know, like, yeah, like some animes are more like that. Not saying that that's bad, but like for me, One Piece is my favorite anime of all time, but that's not a starter anime. Like he was joking earlier.
1,000 episodes.
Yeah,
Dude,
still going.
They keep trying to make
But
shit.
what I will always say, and this is just my personal opinion, and anime stands out there, you will understand. Everybody has their opinion. I will always say the best anime of all time is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
And I think Full Metal Alchemist is the best anime to show somebody who's new because it has the basic, not to dumb it down, but like Neanderthal thing that some people just need to start with like good action, but it has so many themes that are relevant. And at the end, I'll explain the theme that I find most passionate for me when I rewatch that show, which I've done tons of times, is it tackles, you know, corrupt governments and status issues and ways people are indoctrinated into beliefs and treat each other. It also mixes, it's a world where religion and science both exist equally. There is magic and mysticism, and there is also science and alchemy, like in the name, and like, but at the core theme, at the end of it, if you watch that show and you watch it start to finish, if you have anybody you care about in your life that you would die for, or a sibling specifically, that show is fucking phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
You
gotta watch Brotherhood, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
there's 2 versions of it.
yeah, there's
You
2
gotta watch
versions of
Brotherhood.
it. They can't really find the original anyways, but Brotherhood's the best anyways because it's more true to the manga. Like,
Okay.
to the original. And that show is just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then if someone's not looking for that much depth but still needs a good story, so it's not just action garbage, my second thing would be, it's not fully American, it's half Japanese team and like Americans working together, but another banger based kind of funded in America is, I always recommend to people's Afro Samurai.
Hell yes.
Short, sweet, fucking amazing, damn near can make you cry, like once you round it off with the movie it has towards the end.
Yeah.
And that shit, same thing. Hip hop, RZA did hella tracks for it. Samuel L. Jackson's one of the main voices if you watch
Voice
the
talent
English
in
version.
general, yeah.
You know? And it's just another really good show. So like Full Metal Alchemist will always be my number 1 because as much as One Piece is my most favorite, and I'm literally getting my whole bag blasted in a couple months with a symbol from that show, like
Getting your what blasted? What?
I'm getting my back. So yeah, if you guys want to see it live on YugiBOOM, I'm getting my back blown out for the stream. Like, comment, subscribe. Danny's gonna be doing it.
Hey, yo.
He's gonna be dressed as Rosie O'Donnell specifically from the Flintstones movie.
Yeah, happily, dude.
But no, like seriously, like so Full Metal Alchemist would be my, if I think it's somebody who has not saying like,
I forgot about that.
but like if someone I think would appreciate a little bit more depth, because, and that's not to take anything away from Afro Samurai, because that also has hella depth, but Full Metal Alchemist is way more, like, it's crazy how some of these animes could come out in the mid 2000s or 90s, and I know they had precedents like world wars and all types of atrocity around the world to go to, but it's crazy how these themes of the negative aspects of the human condition can just echo throughout time. Like they have new faces, but it's the same shit. Like people suffering, people being, and like sometimes it's just not, like going back to what we talked about earlier, it's nice to live in the fantasy. Like we don't live in a world, unfortunately, where Superman can show up and punch a bad guy in the face and it's all done. You know, like we live in a world where every day we don't know what country's gonna fucking nuke each other or some crazy shit, what asshole's gonna shoot something up or whatever shit like that. And like when these animes can touch those themes, I think that's the best thing to show someone who's new to it, because it's one thing to just show them a really good action anime, right? Like like as much as we grew up with that as a kid and it's one of the goats, like Dragon Ball Z is pretty simple. Like I said, it's pretty monster of the week. It's not. It never really gets into too emotional shit. Just like
other than thematic shit, like growing up,
other than like doubting yourself, like the basics, right? It's not like Naruto where it's literally like whole fucking lineages of abuse and crazy losing your parents early and like crazy themes, or like One Piece that eventually delves into like corrupt governments and shit
racial
like that,
issues,
you know, and
even,
racial issues, you know, like and. Class issues, things like that, and it's crazy. That's what I think is the best thing to do for anime. You know, like I wouldn't just show somebody an anime that's fun at first. You know, like unless I think it's like a bubbly person who just likes funny stuff. Because that's the crazy thing about anime is like going back to that point of why I want to show them something with depth is there's animes that aren't even about powers at all. or fighting at all. There's animes where it's just family or like
Right.
like
Slice
a
of
Full
life.
House, like that's what they call like slice of life, you know, or like a lot of people argue this, and I'm
about
a firm
volleyball?
believer of this. Boondocks is an American slice of life anime.
Yeah. Right.
Like the guy takes hella inspiration. There's frame for frame fights from animes in the Boondocks, and the way it's animated, and that show's amazing. One of my top 5 shows ever, period, you know, like, and so like things like that, like being able to express social issues and make a light of things in easier to understand ways, you know?
Right.
Same
Make it
reason why
palatable.
like why you want your children's movies and cartoons to have serious themes. Like nowadays people are afraid to approach that boundary, but what we're lucky is like sometimes rewatching, like now that we're blessed to watch all of our bangers now, like that all the Cartoon Network cartoons are on HBO Max, and all the
It's Max now. Don't say
shits,
HBO.
yeah.
It's Max.
Yeah,
just Max.
all the Nickelodeon shit is watchable. Sometimes I watch old '90s shows and it's crazy. Random episodes, like even Full House and shit, like they're willing to tackle crazy ass issues, and they took like leaps
Fresh
to
Prince.
be like, you know what I mean, or like Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I rewatched
Yeah.
Fresh
Yeah.
Prince and like the episode.
Everybody
about,
cries
about
when the episode
when
was dad, you know.
No, when that episode's
Yeah.
fucked
Dude,
up.
but also
Dude,
like him going off
everyone.
script for that.
Dude, I'm
was
telling you,
crazy.
I know
to
it
get
sounds
off.
funny, and I don't
Like-
care. I don't care if people like think I sound corny, but like watch anime, bro. You'd be surprised how a story could get so in depth, and one day a character dies or some betrayal happens, and you're just as emotional as you were when you watched a movie that did that same feeling to you.
Right.
You know?
Like
You're
Fresh
just-
Prince, I was talking about the episode where Will got shot.
Yeah, you know
That
what I'm saying?
episode's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, like
Oh,
shit
he's in the
like-
hospital with a gun.
Yeah, give me the gun, Carlton.
Yeah.
That ain't you, man.
Yeah.
There's like moments even where like even like some simple anime like where it's just like the simplest premises, but it could touch up on like just some real life shit can
Right.
like make a person cry. Like my girlfriend right now, one of her favorite animes of all time is this anime called Shirakuma Cafe, translated to Polar Bear Cafe. It's about a polar bear, literally a polar bear that runs a cafe. His regular customer is a panda bear that works a job at a zoo as a panda, and a penguin that is also a regular customer that always orders coffee and shit. But there's also like humans and shit.
Right.
But it touches up on like, real life themes like, growing up, moving on, like things. Sometimes you'll lose friends or like, like it could be tough with like, jobs nowadays.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it just
yeah.
touches up on like real life things nowadays. And it just
Right.
keeps you grounded to like just saying, hey, keep going at it.
Right.
Like, don't give up on this shit because it's gonna turn up for the better. And honestly, like, again, people knock anime for like, sometimes even being pointless as having like a premise like this.
It's because of like the older animes, like Yugi-Oh is considered an anime. Pokemon's always about friendship. They always make fun of the friendship shit. But I mean, a lot of
But
that
even
stuff,
then, that still holds weight. I
Yeah.
mean, Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays, as corny
I
as
mean,
we
wait till
see it.
you don't know the value of friendship till you've been fucked over by someone you thought you could trust.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's what's funny. That's what I'm telling people is like that's what I was saying for my point, and the reasons I gave the animes I gave is I want people to understand it's not just like a child cartoon, like you can watch shit that actually can help you make sense of like just like reading a good book, anything like that. It's like this story helped me make sense of something that was difficult for me, even
Right.
if it's it's not an unhealthy personification of your reality, right? It's not like, oh, I'm looking at this fantasy character who got out of far worse things than me to escape. No, but it's nice to know that there are people who write these stories because they've been there.
Yeah.
They emulate these fantasy, these characters, these themes because they've had some sort of life experience that made them feel like, since this person's hella mystical, how can I make somebody feel pain for this fantasy character? But we've all lost someone we loved. We've all had hardships. We've all had things, like not everything's just two dudes going Super Saiyan screaming at each other for
Right.
5 episodes, But
Yeah.
so that's I guess our best way to answer that question is we give those animes to give people a little bit of an outlet of
Yeah.
like, hey, like
And on top of that, there's just so much. Like, it's not that expensive to get a Crunchyroll account, people. Like, anime is
even
pretty
then I have a
accessible
whole
nowadays.
library. If anybody ever wants to read One Piece, I have like
There you go.
hell of physical manga. You can just fucking
Yeah.
rent books from my house.
Yeah.
Joe's library.
No, but like, yeah, I think like for me, right? It's just like Star Wars or Disney, right? In
Yeah.
general, right? Just in general, Marvel, fucking all of it, right? It's just like so daunting. There's so much that I need to like know. I feel like, right, as a regular person, the same way that like when you try, like you have to like just kind of like have someone take you. So like my first rave, right, was just like that was like someone took me. And like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have ever done it the same way like with you guys, like I'm more immersed in this, so I'm like more like, you know, I'm like more inclined to like start finding my own stuff.
Yeah.
And like what I'm into is not gonna be what you guys are into. All you guys gave me separate answers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like all you guys like are found the story and the characters, I guess, that you guys kind of fit like your life to, if that makes sense. The same way that we all have music that we have, like our soundtrack to our lives.
Yeah.
Our
It's
favorite
like that
artists.
same thing. And it's one of those like that's why it's like it's kind of like for like the average person, I feel like it's just like it's very daunting to try and find yourself in a new way.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Well, that's the best part about learning something new, right? Or teaching somebody something new is you just do it with a open mind, right? Like, I know it's a little bit of a random comparison, but even like with my nieces, like my eldest niece, she's all into the same shit me and my brothers are into. But like with the other kids, like even something as simple as like teaching them how to throw a ball, right?
Right.
Like you just open your mind to how can I explain to this person how to get this thing, you know, like how to do this. And it's hella fun to get people to understand things they don't understand, or like
Right.
even just come to a place of like, oh, that sounds interesting, you know? And,
yeah.
and like you said, exposing people to new shit. That's what you got to do with music, with art, with film, with whatever you're into. Like, same thing with music. I've taken friends to concerts who'd never been to concerts before. I've even taken one friend, shout out Carlos, I'll make you watch this just because this shout out, but he'd never been to a concert before, and the first concert I took him to as crazy of a concert you can go to. I took him to a death metal show.
Yeah.
And like made him watch me like mosh and shit. And he was just like, I was like, how did you like it? He's like, that was the craziest thing ever. But now I want to go to a concert of a music I like. And I was like, all right, that makes sense. You know, like I was like, but I like this music.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, and so like that kind of shit, just exposing yourself to new things. That's why like with Sass, we all keep saying, and he just always either like is unreachable or whatever, but like we tell him, like, even though none of us really grew up like listening to electronic music that much, like besides the classic like 90s songs,
Right.
you know, like and shit like
Sandstorm
that.
and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Like anything that was on DDR.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much, you know, like
That's all
then we
funny.
got you on
Yeah.
Captain
My
Jack.
little butterfly.
We got you on Captain Jack,
Yeah.
Barbie girl shit like that. But that's about the extent of our like music, you know.
Jeez.
Or, you know, but we always tell Christian just to support you guys, even like we would love to go to one of those shows you can get us in. Like, he always like, I can get you in a show for free. He's like, even if we have to pay, like if it helps you guys, we don't care.
Yeah.
Just let us know so we can actually all show up, and like
Right.
we'll be in that crowd. Just like I was like, and if anything, like I'll fucking pass you guys a blunt, like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, like that's the thing where like what is really tight about you guys, to kind of close everything out, and what the group does, like you guys mentioned, you guys are trying to build community, you guys are trying to like teach, but you're also allowing yourself to express yourself.
Yeah.
And that is all those things individually, I think people like look for. But the fact that you guys are doing this all on one platform, essentially,
Hell yeah.
whether you guys are doing it on purpose or not, you know,
Yeah.
is what is happening. And that's really cool to see, for real. Like, like I've known you for probably just as long as like you started this channel.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's cool to see like the growth, plus the forward thinking
Yeah.
as to where you guys want to take this.
And that's honestly the awesomest thing about, like, say, like digital media, where it's just like, say, if it's just video or audio wise, you know, that's what's the cool thing, is that like we can bridge gaps between things like this. Like, you know, like as of late, we've been trying to like find a way to like, you know, make skits in our channel, you know, just to try to appeal to like, you know, people in the comedic side, you know, whether it's people exclusively with like the Yu-Gi-Oh community or whatever the case may be. Like, you know, if we try to like make skits like in the future and shit like that, you know,
Yeah.
it's all really gonna be just for like, you know, what we find funny,
Right,
you know, and,
right.
Yeah.
you know,
And
at
then-
least
and-
to the flavor of our
And the
stuff.
last thing I'll say is that what I made a mental note of one day, and it made me kind of laugh to myself, is like I always was super envious of the fact that like my dad and my mom growing up, they were really smart. They filmed everything. My dad had that old school camera, first Disneyland trips, first birthday parties, even for hella my cousins, like going back even to like the 80s and shit. Like My dad has hella videos that he transferred to DVD and everything. And like,
Right.
I always say, like, even if with anything, because we have friends who make music. Like, I grew up doing like poetry and like trying to rap when I was younger. Like, we have friends in bands, like I said earlier, all types of artists, everything. And I always tell people, like, whether you make it or not, like, you should just explore your talents, explore
Right.
your passions,
Yeah.
just do them. Even if even if you never put it out, like, record something, do something, make something. And that's our version of walking around with the camera.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
videotaping your family, like us really close homies shooting the shit about two worlds colliding. Like, we've always been friends, and you know, we collide on a lot of other things, but it's nice to break bread, talk about
Right.
what interests us
And
in
just like bridging the gap.
yeah, and
What
that's what's cool about this is our like home video, you know.
Right.
Like, whether you make YouTube videos, you podcast, you whatever, you're recollecting memories and connections that you made along the way, and I think that shit's tight as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. Like what I like try to like kind of teach my little cousins and like my nieces and nephews is like, I don't care what you're passionate about. I want to know what you're interested in, so then I can show you different things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you're gonna always look for what you're passionate for, and that's always gonna be in your like your eyesight. But like, what else is like what's over here that you're kind of like peeking at? That you like don't know, you know. That's why like having this conversation is really cool for me, because it's like, oh, like, and maybe for like other people who are just kind of like dabbling into this, you know, world. But like it's like, what are you interested in? Like what like you can ask questions and you can like see if you actually really like it, so you can put it in your sight, you know, your eyesight,
Exactly.
or like just, you know, kind of keep it
Yeah.
right there. And like, yeah, it's that's what I try to like teach people. This is why like on the bio it's like, you don't need to know everything, just know how to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's and it's funny. We have a leg up, obviously, because we know you, right? So it's
Right.
a lot easier to talk to you. But yeah, that's the thing, right? Is just talk. Just be a person. Don't be a robot. Like,
Yeah.
But and also it's just there's a lot of things that are common knowledge with people nowadays. People are gonna know what music is. People are gonna know what like, you know, like cards or like hobbyist activities are gonna
Right.
be, you know? Like it's just a matter of like breaking ground and like understanding what the other person's gonna like and finding like a mutual thing
Yeah.
between you two. So,
We're way more alike than we are different.
yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
like at the end of the day, we're all just trying to find like stories to like, or like mediums to explain our story.
yeah.
You know.
Everybody wants to be heard.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone wants to be
Everybody wants to
heard.
be
Everyone
heard.
wants to be seen.
Hear me talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, make
Um,
sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on the George.Daniel motherfucking podcast, man. My boy's out here grinding.
I appreciate that.
Listening to people, putting other people on, even if it's successful artists. My boy's taking time out of his day to let people
And Matt. And
talk.
Matt.
And Matt, of course. Matt's the genius behind it all.
Honestly.
Yeah, camera on Matt right now.
Yeah.
Camera on the boy Matt. But yeah, these guys put a lot of effort into this. They've been gracious hosts to some nerds like us. So
Oh, yeah.
make sure you fucking like, comment, subscribe, follow them on their other social medias. See the other shit they be up to. Follow us at YugiBOOM on pretty much everything. We try to post weekly. We also collab with anybody on any sort of channel, whether it be anime, movies, TCG stuff, collectibles.
Music.
You want to work? We're willing to work with you. We'll be making a Discord soon to get a lot of content creators in our realm together. And,
Maybe.
You know, like maybe if we feel like it. So, but yeah, buy a bunch of dumb shit that makes you happy. That's the last thing I'll leave you with.
Hell yeah. Just remember, everyone, we love you guys, and just keep that little happy kid inside of you fucking cheerful and looking for the future.
I mean, help that kid grow up, and help them realize that it's pretty harsh out there, but at the same time, keep them grounded.
Yeah. It's cool to be a little kid. It's cool to
Exactly.
just keep that energy. And yeah, we love you guys. Peace.
Peace.